Calculating Your Net Worth, presented by me, Kathy Fettke, CEO of Real Wealth Network. And welcome to this part of the Real Wealth Investor Academy, which is really coming back to basics. What is your net worth? How do you calculate it? And how do you grow it? All right, so why bother? For many people, calculating your net worth can feel like this. It can feel like dieting, defeating, like you can just never get there. I understand. It can feel like budgeting, just restrictive and all the things you can't do rather than the things that you really want to do. Or like a partnership, it can be frustrating because you've got usually other people involved with your net worth. You have other people spending money if you're married or have children, other needs. So there's a lot involved, and sometimes you just think, wouldn't it be easier to ignore it? Well, here's what most Americans are doing, just ignoring it. So here we have a little graph of income versus net worth from 2007 to 2010. Okay, so this is a little outdated. It's right in the middle of the Great Recession, but it does show us a picture. And that is that in 2007, the average income in the U.S. was $49,600. In 2010, it went down to $45,800. So people were living on about $4,000 less per year, which, doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, $350 a month. That is no longer there. So that can certainly have an impact on spending. But look at this. Net worth dropped from an average of $126,400 to, wow, almost half that, $77,300. So that was a big hit. Now, net worth tends to be something that we're not feeling in the moment. So this could be due to home equity. A lot of people were counting their home equity as part of their net worth. So when that disappeared, well, there goes that big chunk. If your money was in stocks, well, that took a big hit too. And many people felt that. Real estate investments, it was a tough time. So people, we look at net worth as what we're possibly going to be retiring on, and $77,000 is just not going to do it. So yeah, it feels better to ignore this problem. Now, Americans are ignoring a lot of problems. 2/3 of Americans are overweight or obese. That's an average of 23 pounds overweight is what obese is considered. And the average American has nearly $16,000 in credit card debt. That's about $3,200 in annual interest alone when you look at about 20%, which is about average for a credit card. They're going up to as much as 29% and 30%. And I don't know how that's legal, but that is a trap that is very difficult to get out, because to pay that off, it's usually money you don't have. So you'd have to be making 20% on your investments to be able to outdo your credit card debt. So very, very difficult, but we have a big appetite here in the US. And that's why I'm comparing weight with finances, because they're very, very similar. They go hand in hand. They both take the same kind of mental game, discipline, way of thinking to get ahead. Now, if you've ever seen anybody overweight lose weight and keep it off, it's not because they did some kind of crash diet. It's because they changed lifestyle. And in order to change lifestyle, it's got to be in a way that is something you can live with. So anyone can do a crash diet, and anyone can save and try to pay off credit card debt or stop spending for a short period of time. But that can all be undone very quickly with a lot of spending or a lot of eating. So again, this is about lifestyle change, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Again, the average American net worth dropped 40% from 2007 to 2010. Now, hopefully that has improved. with the changing market, but I don't know. All right. So how can we make this process fun? Because nobody likes talking about diets. Nobody likes talking about budgeting. Money is a tough and very personal subject. So let's dive in. Now with dieting, if we can just shift our thinking about dieting to just simply tracking, not cutting out, but tracking what we're doing. Because when we can see what we're doing, that's when we can make change. A lot of times, a lot of the things that we do are unconscious. And certainly with food, if you start reading labels, you start learning, you start educating yourself, you'll see that you can still eat very, very well. Just shifting to what you put in your mouth. Still stay full, still eat wonderful meals, just be more aware and educated. And suddenly, diet turns into not a negative thing, but a positive thing. Diet becomes something that fuels you. The food that you put in your body that makes you healthy, that makes you feel good. That can be the new version of dieting, not restriction, not giving up, but rather just, again, shifting lifestyle. And so the same concept, and I'm saying this right now because my husband and I are on a challenge. We're on what's called the real, oh my goodness, whole life challenge is what it's called. And we had to cut out alcohol, dairy, sugar, grains of any time, corn, soy for 2 months. And when we first went to do this, I thought, there's no way I can do that. There's no way I can cut out sugar, alcohol, dairy. That means cheese. No way. But my husband showed me and helped me to see, there's a whole bunch of other things we can do. We can have sweet potatoes. We can actually cook those in the oven with a little olive oil, and they taste like sweet potato fries with way less fat, and they're delicious. We found out that you can cook kale chips in the oven. Kale, just put it in the oven, and it's yummy, it's tasty, it's low fat and very high in nutrition. There's so many good things we found out we could eat that I stopped thinking about what I couldn't eat and started thinking about all the wonderful new recipes I could learn. And I also focused on my baggy pants, my pants that were getting looser every week. Okay, so that has been the key to dieting, is focusing on what you can do and not what you can't. So let's apply that again to budgeting. Again, if we just look at budgeting as simply tracking, not something that keeps us from doing what we want to do. We just simply want to initially, with a budget, understand where our money is coming from and where it's going so that we can be better stewards of it, so that we can direct it better. Okay, there's no judgment here, just tracking. Again, on my diet that we're doing on this challenge, we track it all and we post it for others to see. And in the beginning, it was really embarrassing. Well, in the beginning, it was not embarrassing because I was doing it right. But then when I started not doing it right, I didn't want other people to know. But we realized this isn't about judgment. This is about simply recognizing our patterns. So again, with budgeting, this is the first place to start, is just recognizing our patterns. Again, and with net worth, we've got to remember this is not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a number. It's just a measurement. When you're feeling bad about anything, it's a good time to start comparing, all right? Here in the US and in the modern world, we are so wealthy. Even the poorest of us here are some of the wealthiest in the world. There's a saying that Warren Buffett has. A friend of mine had dinner with Warren Buffett, and he mentioned this then, and she was blown away. She told me, and I thought it was brilliant too. Some of the salespeople and staff within Warren Buffett's company were complaining that sales were way down, and during the recession, their salaries were cut in half, and they were struggling, they're quote unquote struggling. And Warren Buffett said to them, well, I'll tell you what, let's have every person in the world put a ticket into a big barrel. So every human being has one ticket, and they put that ticket in a barrel, and that barrel's stirred up. you can go in and pick out a ticket, and you can trade your position with anyone else's position in the world by just picking another ticket. Well, when you find out that most US citizens are in the 1%. We talk about this 1% in the US. And the fact is, most of us in the US are the 1% of the world. So if you trade your ticket in and take someone else's, there's a very good chance, a 99% chance, that you will end up worse off. So we've got to put things in perspective when it comes to net worth. We have clean water. We have usually a warm and safe place for our children to sleep. We have schools. We have so much here. So when we come back to net worth, let's just take away the guilt or the concern or the fear and say, we've got it pretty good. When we look at our net worth, we're just taking a snapshot of where we are financially, and that's it. And I can tell you, financially, we are far better than most of the world. So when we focus on the good stuff, it all becomes easier. This is going to be the key when building your net worth. Focus on what you can do. Focus on the exciting goal in the end. Like I said, baggy jeans or tight jeans, just a smaller size. What is the exciting goal? What do you want to achieve? What kind of net worth do you want? Take a moment to think about that. What would be a net worth that would have you feel very, very good, very secure? Is it $1 million? Is it $500,000? Is it $10 million? Is it $100 million? What is it for you? It's different for everybody. Again, I'll tell you, the 99%, all those other tickets in that barrel, they might be thrilled with $1,000 or $100 or $10,000. That would be the jackpot. $100,000 would be multimillionaire status. So again, it's just very subjective. What for you would be a very comfortable net worth? And just whatever number comes up, write it down. Okay? And we're going to go in a little further about what that means and why we care about having a large or small number. Again, coming back to why does any of this matter? You could have a $300,000 net worth and be happier than the person with a $3 million net worth. If you're honoring your values, if you're living life the way you want to on your terms, again, it's never about the numbers. It's about what you do with them. It's about really the numbers that happen between 12 a.m. and then 12 a.m. So day to day, those numbers are the most important. Your time is limited. Money is not. Your time is. That is the greatest value of all. What you do with your time is what matters. So again, that kind of takes the pressure off of having to have this big net worth.